And we are back. We are here at Brian's Nerd Pub. I'm Adam, and this is our second post-paper movies live stream discussion. We have The Geeks Attic, and we have Stupid Chainsaw Productions. I'm not saying that other part to his name.
Chainsaw?
There you go.
I guess welcome to After Hours.
Yeah, welcome. Welcome to the last call, you know.
Yeah, man.
I was so polite during the podcast. I was really good on the inside.
We might have more guests on later, but for those of you tuning in, if you were part of the paper movies viewing, would you guys what'd you guys think of the book? Did you like the movie better? Or did you like the book better? We just want to hear your.
Yeah, there were other questions people were asking too that I think that I ignored. I can't. It's hard doing that. I don't like ignoring things, but like staying on track.
I mean, if it's something I want to bring up anyway, and someone prompts it, that's when I like step in with like the violence. Quality Autism brought that up, and that's saying something. He had to go, by the way, so he won't be on the stream.
Oh, yeah. I did see that. But
anybody. He was in that in the Facebook group. I know he posted he read it I think the first week after we posted what the book was. He's like, I read it. Like, whoa, okay.
I was just like, we all finished it literally with
today.
I finished it last night, but I know that
you finished it at midnight. That's today.
Actually, It was 10 minutes before midnight, so that was last night.
I call you liar.
Why would I go back and reread the last page today?
Why would I lie about that?
You're trying to one up me because I finished the first book club 4 days before the two of you did.
Yeah, I think that was probably. Did I read the last book? Greg, what did we do last time?
Game of Monsters.
Yeah, that's right. I've read 2 or 3 books since then, which is quite crazy, but I think I finished that book the day of, finished this book the day of. So for The Predator, I think I want to get started on it.
Well, it has an audio book.
Oh, it does?
Yes, that's one of the reasons I chose it. Because I have to get so many reviews this month, coming month. I have to review 5 things, including a book of short stories.
I'm going to be looking, whenever it's my turn to pick the next, after Raiders, whenever it's my turn to pick the next, I'm going to be looking okay, what has no audiobook whatsoever?
Raiders doesn't have an audiobook.
Oh, well, then there we go.
Exactly. No, that's fine. My whole thing with the audiobooks and why I choose them is if things are going to be really bogged down. So, when we're doing this in the fall when I'm in school, I will be pushing for things that are unabridged audiobooks.
Yeah. That'd be more like the newer stuff then, right?
The Audible is actually getting the rights to older books. That's why all the Alien books are Audible exclusive, unabridged.
I would also like to point out, though, Jeremy, this is called paper movies, not audio movies.
It's unabridged, man.
No one has to know, though. If you have the book, we can still. I have it. I have The Predator, so
I do too.
There's been times when I've listened to the audiobook, especially with the new Star Wars stuff. Sometimes they give me the audiobook in advance, so I'll listen to it. And then I'll get the book, and then I'll be like, I read the book. I mean, because, did audio read it.
Oh, no, go ahead.
So, with the new canon, it started with Aftermath. I couldn't read that book. I literally, was in the store. I didn't buy it initially. That's how bad Aftermath was when I first picked it up. I was so jarred by the way it was written. I was like, this is the worst thing I had ever seen. Little did I know that Dark Disciple was far worse.
Right.
But yeah, it was a gnarly time, and the great Mark Thompson could not save Aftermath. Or any Aftermath books.
Yeah.
By the way, Jeremy, I was just giving you a hard time. I have most of the books that I've read, all last year were audiobooks, so I was just messing with.
Yeah, no, I took it with a grain of salt.
Rob D says, "Hey, Rob D, did you hear the rumor that Michael Keaton may be coming back to play Batman?" Yeah, I actually did for the Flash movie. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Build up Twitter.
Yeah, it's not the Michael Keaton Batman I want to see, but okay.
Well, I'm wondering if it's supposed to like. Did they say that was supposed to set up like Batman Beyond?
Ugh.
I have
Leave
no
Batman
idea.
Beyond alone. You gotta fire everyone at DC that makes those movies before they touch Batman Beyond and ruin that.
Yeah, I don't even pay attention.
The choice that they've done is having Gal Gadot as a Wonder Woman. That's like perfect casting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill are fine. Not my first choice. Mainly Ben Affleck as Batman, although his physique is the Frank Miller Batman.
Yeah. I was wondering if that was intentional.
Oh, it was absolutely. They gave him the Frank Miller bat suit, only made out of duct tape.
Let's see. Small Time says, I totally understand if you guys need to stay on topic during the initial live stream. It makes sense if someone is listening to it later. Oh, yeah. Jeffrey Watson says, have y'all read the first chapter of Star Wars Light of the Jedi? No, I did see that they released it, though.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm one of those people that when I get the emails of like, oh, a new excerpt has been released, I don't read any of them. I don't like reading the back of books either that give a little summary. I don't like it because, all this stuff likes to lead you in a different direction. But even though it's the first chapter, I mean, I'll read it. Because people are like, oh, have you read it? Have you read it? You want to review it? It's like, well, I guess I can. I didn't really want to because talk about like a tease. Oh, here's chapter 1.
Yeah.
And then now you wait till January.
Yeah, okay. I'm not gonna read it. I'm just gonna wait until I'm not gonna read the first chapter. I'm just gonna wait till it comes out. But yeah, Ryan Kennel's summary of it was he was not amused apparently. And
let's have real talk right now.
Oh, one second. I'm just gonna say the plot so far sounds like they're completely make up the rules of hyperspace.
Oh, probably it's Disney. But
go for it. Yeah.
Ryan is never happy about just about anything except for his stupid Snyder cut.
I like the guy, but I agree. The Star Wars takes are going to be anything that's new. They're not going to recommend.
He's going to take a dump on it. That's why people watch his channel. That's what he does.
Is that what the Fandom Menace thing is, though? Because I'm still confused on the whole thing.
Me and Geeks Addict. Yeah, like me and Geeks Addict were hanging out the other day. We had lunch, and I actually asked him that same question. Like I've heard of like the Fandom Menace, but I don't necessarily know what it is. Like, is it just a group where they just don't like the Disney canon or something?
Well, they got disenfranchised as far as I know with Last Jedi. I mean, granted, Ryan's part of it, and he had a good explanation of what it was on the Legends podcast. He was on a couple episodes ago, if you want to check that out, because I don't remember. Because it's not a big deal. There's some people... The thing you should get out of the Phantom Menace is that there's some good people in the Phantom Menace, and then there's some shit posters in the Phantom Menace.
It was just like with anything.
Star Wars group. Like, I don't understand the fixation of certain YouTubers that won't be named on here with that group. It has never made sense to me, and God forbid if you're friends with people in the Phantom Menace. With certain YouTubers, it's like the kiss of death. Like,
people are weird about it. Like, I like Ryan. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
I'll tweet at him every now and then. He'll do the same, and it's just I know there's certain people out there that are gonna hate anything that comes out, and those are gonna be the people that absolutely love everything that comes out, even though it's like the biggest pile of crap. They're gonna say, "Oh, I love it so much." You're blind by that Star Wars logo. I'll be I admit things that on my channel, my reviews, I will tell you the honest truth, whether I hate it or if I like it.
All right. Do either of you guys follow the Hasbro news for the Star Wars toys?
Mm-mm.
Okay. It's a joke. It's a dumpster fire of a thing. So they released a carbon freezing chamber playset, which, by the way, playsets are not really a thing anymore. And they haven't been a thing for a long time. I don't know. You all collected Star Wars figures like I did. Did you have any playsets growing up?
No, just the ships. I know the only playset that I ever had was like Micro Machines.
Well, that's different. That's a different beast. I'm talking like the action
figures. No,
I had Geonosian Arena. That was the only one I have, and it's one of the few toys that I don't have anymore. Not because it burned in the fire. My mom got rid of it like years ago because we got a fish tank. And the Ocean Arena went around the fish tank, and I spilled fish food all over it, and the cats wrecked the arena because they wanted to eat the fish food that fell on it because I was such a slob at the age of like 10.
Right.
But they released. There's only been 3 carbon freezing chambers ever released for the action figure line. One was in the old Kenner line, which was made of cardboard and looks like garbage. They had another one. Do you guys remember Power of the Jedi? The Power of the Jedi line. It was after Phantom Menace, but before Attack of the Clones. And it was a toy line that combined the original trilogy with Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
they were more posable than the Power of the Force 2 figures. They weren't as they were still bulky, but they weren't as bulky. But they had it was a Lucas Fan Club exclusive playset of the carbon freezing chamber that I wanted so bad. I wore out my Star Wars Insider just looking at that ad for hours. But you can never find it in a toy store, and I didn't know it was like a fan club exclusive. But I need to find you what they did. They released it's for the 3.75 figures, which basically Hasbro's abandoned those action figures.
I haven't seen new stuff, so I'm so disappointed. Like, did they even release anything for The Rise of Skywalker? Because I don't recall seeing anything.
Vintage cards.
Yeah, those are still considered like Black Series figures, aren't they?
I know the
sort of not
Lego released stuff for Rise of Skywalker, and speaking of which, Rob D actually said it's like Lego. People don't want play sets; they want ships, vehicles, and minifigures. Yeah, that's true.
I was such a playset guy. Like, okay, I'm going to screen share this right now. I want to show you this toy because I'm not big into the toy collecting. I want to put that out there, but I do like looking at this. What is this? Do you see this? This is half a playset, and it's $50.
What?
You have to buy 2 of them.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
It's all about the money.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, all these figures here, none of these have been in circulation for years.
What
these
are
are
you
literally from Legacy series, which was before the Disney buyout.
Here, I'm gonna bring it up. There you go.
The only fun it looks like you could have with that is if you had like Luke and Vader doing a saber fight. None of that other stuff makes any sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but basically because it's so small, and when you put them together, it doesn't add that much space. When you put all those figures on there, you can't move any of them around. But look at these spindly freaking legs. Those are just going to break.
Yeah.
That's strong wind right there.
I do remember that they came out with a Carbonite with Lego, and like what was cool about that was like you could actually like maneuver it to where you could have the Carbonite Han Solo and the actual Lego Han Solo, just like turn it around. I mean, that's something at least, you know.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I always wanted a carbon freezing chamber because my first 2 Star Wars action figures, actually my first 2 action figures, period. Chewbacca from Power of the Force 2. And Han Solo in Carbonite from Jabba's Palace. Like, and you pulled him off. He had a little hook in the back, and he popped them on there.
Mm-hmm.
It was awesome. I always wanted, because Power of the Force 2 is when they really kind of stopped doing play sets. They had 2 big ones, I remember, and they were both kind of cardboard and chintzy. One was the Cantina, and the other one was Jabba's Palace. And I wanted the Jabba's Palace one really bad.
See, Christopher Nelson put up a comment there.
Yeah, I was going to bring it up. You're forgetting a version produced by Kenner for the Micro Series diecast playset.
I wasn't counting those because those are basically like micro machines. Because if you're counting that, then you got to count the micro machines, and they've done, I think, 2. And also Lego's done at least 1, if not 2, Bestman playsets, which is like the whole Bestman.
Rob, it's called Star Wars tax.
So ridiculous. Did you all follow the Rogue One toys?
No.
Rogue One was notorious for its ships, with their addiction to having Nerf missiles come out of them, like the little Nerf darts.
Yes, my son has when Toys R Us was going out of business, everything was super cheap, like really cheap. We have an AT-AT, which I think they called it something else because it was a cargo.
AT-AT.
Yes, he has one of those, and the Thai ship that has the wings that are real pointy and flop down. Can't remember what that was called. But
oh god, I don't remember.
Yeah, they had the little Nerf things, and on the AT, whatever you said it was, AT-ACT, the little ejector door broke, and it sticks up, so it doesn't shoot the darts anymore, and the legs snap on, and they always pop off. And same with the Thai, the wings always fall off really easy, and it doesn't shoot the darts anymore either. So,
I'm pulling up what I consider the best Imperial Walker action figure.
Small time asks, what did you think of The Darkest Minds? If you read it, Adam, I figured you may have. I actually haven't read The Darkest Minds.
I've never heard of it.
Who wrote it? Small time?
What is it a comic or something?
Or is it like a Star Wars book? Or
Darkest Minds?
Darkest Mind. Here, let me look that up, actually. It sounds familiar.
I'm not looking anything up. I'll go ahead and answer that question earlier about reading that chapter. I think I might, because I said I never read excerpts or anything, but having to wait till January to finish the rest of the book, I might read it. I mean, it seems like it's going to be interesting. I had a conversation, I believe, with Chris. I can't remember who it was, but about Star Wars separating into different eras now in the new canon. It's like they're gonna. I have a feeling they're gonna abandon the sequel stuff. And it's like, oh crap! Well, that didn't do too well. So let's do a book series over here in the what is it? What is the new era they're calling it?
The Republic.
The High Republic. So let's get as far away from that as we can. And then, here's another series of Thrawn outside of the known galaxy that we don't know anything about. So let's just get away from everything that we've got going for us and just separate it out. So maybe people forget about the sequels. That's a theory. But all that said,
we won't forget.
Yeah. As soon as Ryan Johnson gets his little trilogy, ugh.
Well, yeah. I just want to throw this out here.
Oh,
look at this thing.
Hit me.
That thing's huge.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
This is what the AT-AT was like. And then they make that chintzy little thing that, it walks on its own as slowly as humanly possible. And it's dart.
So it only takes like 2 steps and it stops.
But literally, look at how huge this is. You can fit just about any figures in there standing up inside.
Wait, this is the Power of the Force one, right?
This is I think this is the Power of the Force.
I have this in my attic.
Never had this because when that was a thing, my parents didn't have money. My dad worked at a Payless when I was very small, and so he would get discounts on the figures, like the early on Power of the Force 2 figures. So that's how I got my action figures. But I didn't have ships till the Phantom Menace when I got the Nubian.
Yeah. Rob D asks us if any Lego Star Wars sets she'd love to have but are just too expensive. All of them. No. I'd always wanted a Lego R2-D2, but right now they're sold for $400.
Jeez.
I own every Lego set I've ever wanted.
I don't really look at the Lego sets anymore. I know I pulled all of mine out from when I was a kid. I never got the Lego sets. I just remember my dad coming home from garage sales with huge tubs of Legos. So I always just had look at all these pieces. I'll make up stuff. Mm-hmm. So I pulled that out of my attic actually recently and let my 2 boys play with it. They were building little houses and stuff. But Star Wars Legos. I've never thought about them really. They look fun.
After I had one more set after this one, but this was my magna opus, was building the Star Destroyer.
Oh yeah, that one I do want that one, but it's $800.
I got 2 of them for Christmas.
Oh wow.
Literally, it was the strangest thing. I ended up selling one to Walmart, getting that money and buying the Imperial troop transport, not the stupid one from Rebels. That was a Kenner toy that they decided was now canon. Like that it needed to be everywhere in the Disney canon.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. That prison transport with a stand on the side.
Here you go, Jeremy. Robbie had a question about the AT-AT.
How old is that AT-AT? I think birthday back in. Well, basically, the one I pulled up was Power of the Force 2, so that would be the 90s. But it got bigger with the Legacy era one, which the Legacy series, I should say, because everything got bigger with the Legacy series, and everything was really detailed. That's like the coolest action figure line ever if you're really into that.
I want to point out real quick, I forgot to mention, the Millennium Falcon that I got was actually meant for Rise of Skywalker, so it didn't have Han Solo with it, but I actually ordered a Empire Strikes Back Han Solo from Amazon, and I'm like, and I just put it in the cockpit with Chewie, and I'm just like, yes, it's complete now.
Disney and Hasbro have gotten so lazy with the toys. Like, we're not
disappointed.
It's like since Attack the Clones, we had near full articulation with the toys, and then suddenly when Disney buys it out, unless it's Black Series, which Black Series went downhill as soon as Disney bought it, as is. It's the gold tier for them in toys, but it went severely downhill. Everything went back to like the Kenner style because it has to be vintage,
which is annoying.
To the point they literally re-released the early '78 action figures again.
Yeah, see, my 5, they have some of those newer figures, and they are super flimsy. Like the weapons, they're so tiny. Like I did a little Power of the Force video on my channel not too long ago, showing all the toys, and like the guns were thicker. You know, they were easy. It's like a hard plastic. These new things are like soft rubber, and they just get lost. And I don't know, they're really crappy, really downhill. And with this last movie that came out, there was like no figures. Like you said, the Black Series stuff is their golden nugget, and those are going down. You know, those are being repackaged now. Like they're doing a new package line.
Yeah, they're
releasing all the old stuff.
Yeah, they're putting on vintage cards.
Like the one thing that I thought would have been cool to have, like the Black Series, they didn't do it. I don't know why they're not doing it. Is like that Luke from the sequel trilogy. All we have is him and his old like the Jedi robes, but like we don't have the cool looking Luke when he's on crate with like his Jedi robes and like
I think they did that. I know they did a smaller figure of that.
I have not seen that anywhere. It was him holding his like lightsaber, or not holding it, just packaged with the lightsaber. I haven't seen the crate Luke, and that's what I really wanted to have.
You know what I just saw, because I went down the toy aisle today at Target, and basically Star Wars toys are a joke, and they basically don't exist anymore unless your name is Baby Yoda, which we got a whole end cap of Baby Yodas, which they decided let's throw all of the Imperial Probe Droid, which is the only cool toy that they had, on there. Because when was the last time they released an Imperial Probe Droid? Power of the Force 2? Like really, like that it took this long for us to get one through Black Series. They did the Wampa like before Disney bought it out. They did the Rancor, but they didn't do the Imperial Probe Droid, which would have been cheaper to make. But they had Luke from the ceremony, the medal ceremony. They had Wedge, and then they had what's her face who shot the bow and arrow in Rise of Skywalker.
Oh yeah.
Literally
Jaina,
3 figures
right? Jaina, I think.
Yeah.
Jordan.
Jaina Solo, and they spelt it wrong.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I see those figures everywhere. The Jaina, whatever.
You don't see any of them.
Lando's daughter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They actually confirmed. I think that's not his daughter.
I know. I just say that.
It
always seemed like that's what they were going to try to tease, but like that's not going to happen. But
I did get that. I thought that was his daughter too, because I did hear that his daughter was actually taken by the First Order. So I thought that's what they were setting up. But
I still have not purchased that movie.
Me neither.
I bought it and I have not watched it.
Like it's sad when I haven't bought it.
I can't bring myself to rewatch it. I thought after the reading the book that I'd be like, yeah, let's do this. Let's rewatch Rise of Skywalker, and I'm like, no, what an awful movie.
They missed out.
Oh god, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
No.
I say that because everyone's like, "Oh, is this the worst movie you've ever seen?" No, it's the worst. Is it the worst Star Wars movie? Yes, it's the worst Star Wars movie.
The Rise of Skywalker is the worst one, you say?
Yeah, it's worse than Dave Filoni's Clone Wars.
See, to me, like the reason why I haven't got it, it's like, it's not the closure. You know what I mean? It's like that's why I don't care. Is because it's not like it doesn't conclude the story that I watched.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just another. Oh crap! We need to tie this into the original somehow. But
you're being polite. We need to rip off the original because that sells.
I mean, like, oh, it's Palpatine. It's not. I don't know. It's not his granddaughter. It's his deformed clone's daughter.
Hey,
I don't.
This is completely random, but have you guys ever seen Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I want to try something. Like Matt Wilkins. Hey, it worked.
Howdy.
It's showtime.
It's showtime. How's it going?
It's going.
Sorry, I missed out on the. I missed out on the end of the stream. I had a crying girl that I had to take care of.
You're good.
Were you there when I was teasing Pantsgate?
That's about when I left. I was like, "This is garbage, fake news," and I just tuned out.
Yeah, as soon as I saw your comment, Matt, about beard trimmings on eBay, or are they beard trimmings? I was like, I'm going to private chat, so I can't see anything else.
I missed that one.
Gonna tear me up.
Matt, are you ready? You ready to see some Star Wars books I got? I've shown you some of them. I've shown you the Adventures in Hyperspace I picked up.
Yeah, really cool.
It was the third. Where can I find the third?
The third is on Joe Bongiorno's site.
Okay. So that's StarWarsTimeline.net?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For those who are into the Ryder Wynnum Adventures in Hyperspace books, there is a third one, and go check it out.
And the thing is, there is a behind the scenes how much detail Ryder Wynnum went into, how much study he did to make sure those books were in continuity. Ryder Wynnum is a really smart guy who cared about the continuity, who for writing children's novels, he was telling me about tons of connections he was making that I didn't even realize. I mean, he's really smart. Because he knows, here's the thing, he knows he's writing a children's novel, but he also knows a grown man like me and you are going to read it. So I may as well put some continuity in there they're going to enjoy. But keep it small for kids. That is how brilliant. Name another franchise who gives that much attention to detail. The Star Wars Expanded Universe, I truly believe, is something we will never see again. We will never see something on such a grand scale that works so hard for continuity.
Yeah,
it works so hard to make continuity happen. It's incredible. It's incredible the amount of work and detail. No one can do something like this again. Unbelievable.
But,
it's like they've given up.
Picked up Scoundrels in a book club size, which I didn't know they still made the book club size when this came out. So this may be the last book club size Star Wars book. It may have beaten out Scourge, which I thought Scourge was the last one.
I thought so too, but guess I was wrong.
Guess so, yeah. And then, of course, I picked up one of our favorite trilogies of Brian Daley stuff.
Oh, here. Sorry, Jeremy.
Those are beautiful.
I love them. It doesn't even say Star Wars on them.
I know.
The things I love about them.
I love them. I love them all. That's a fantastic series. Have you read that?
Yes, long time ago. This was you have to understand, I read, with the exception of the Lando trilogy, which I read later, I didn't know it existed. My mom had a copy of Splinter of the Mind's Eye, and a 3-in-1 of these
Mhm.
from the 90s, I think. And I read those before I read any Bantam.
Now I think those were originally Del Rey, right?
Yes, they were Del Rey as well as the Lando.
And they were Del Rey. They were Del Rey when they got reprinted at the time, I believe so too, right?
I think it was a co-sign with Bantam. I think if you look at the
Hold on.
90s paperback, it was
Unlike Jeremy, I do wear pants, folks, during streams.
I don't know. Oh, hold on. Take the labels off. We gotta reveal Pantsgate right here.
Oh, okay.
No, I think it's just be a mystery.
How do you take the labels off again?
Go jump on your bed, Jeremy.
I don't want to. I'll hit the light.
No, Del Rey still had the republishing rights back then.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why when Bantam was making bank, Del Rey's like, "What can we do? Well, we still can reprint these old books. We still have these old books." So that's when they did the 3-in-1 Han Solo, Lando, and Splinter in the Mind's Eye, and those were, a dime a dozen every bookstore back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You always saw, but I saw that they were Del Rey. They weren't Bantam.
So is that when they put like the classic banner on the top? It was like classics.
Mm-hmm. I think
Yeah.
so. But you're thinking, oh, this is before the expanded universe. And no, there are connections. Probably the most connections to any novel. Well, heck, that's got to be Brian Daley's Han Solo trilogy. That has the most connections because Galandro's daughter is in Young Jedi Knights. Bullocks and Blue Max are mentioned once in New Jedi Order because Han Solo thinks he finds Bullocks and Blue Max again, which I was super excited because Bullocks and Blue Max are these two droids that hung out with him back before he knew everyone. And they're great. And then I don't think Lando's trilogy is mentioned at all. I mean go ahead.
Mind Harper Shrew is actually, oh gosh. Have you heard this, that's part of the new canon?
Yeah, and it
Solo.
Solo.
In the movie. They threw that in because what other Lando stuff are they going to put in? They're not going to make up their own thing. So they went to the only Lando trilogy to pull out the Mind Harp. And he's talking about it, but it's that always bothered me because it's a different droid. And they're like, oh no, L3 was with him when he found the Mind Harp. It's like, no.
There are some things that really ruined the new Star Wars canon, like the last shot from it. Adam, you liked Last Shot, didn't you?
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. It was better than Aftermath.
Okay. Yeah.
Chuck
well,
Van Dyke.
Maybe. Speaking of like tying things together, like Alexander Freed in the new canon, he's the one that really tries to pull everything together and make things like, oh, you remember this from this book way back then? What about this? And he'll pull them all into his books. Like Twilight Company appears in this new book, that Shadowfall. He pulls in names of characters that have been just like forgotten by all the other authors, and apparently Del Rey. They're like, well, we don't know what to do with that character. He like brings these characters in. And you're like, oh, cool, Alexander Freed, you know what you're doing.
But going back to EU before Matt zones out. In Ancient Christmas,
I'm kidding.
Solo
Hey, Small Time just read Han Solo at Stars in comic book. I never read that.
It's fun. It's a little rushed.
Yeah, but that's why. But I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I read that. It's got some cool classic art in it.
The X-Wing comics.
No,
What?
the X-Wing comics are really good. I'm glad he got those too. Actually, I'd like to know what he thought. Rob, did you read the X-Wing? Oh, really? Didn't know that. Did you read the X-Wing comic books?
I know I did.
What did Alexander Freed write in the EU?
He wrote the Old Republic. He wrote the last Old Republic. Remember the web comics that Dark Horse printed?
Yeah, they printed them in three issues.
He wrote the one that sets up Annihilation, the novel.
Okay.
Which he writes the best one of the 3 arcs, but the other 2 arcs are so awful that it's like hard.
That comic book series was. I appreciate them collecting these into comic books.
I mean,
but
yeah.
overall, what a waste.
Oh yeah, but I mean, with a waste with decent art, it was pretty good. I remember the art was like really good for a webcomic.
The art was nice, and the thing was, I was like, man, maybe this is just too far connected to the story of the video game. I was like, none of this I care about or makes sense. There's no character. Like, Jeremy's more of a I mean, I love the comic books too, and there's some great comic books in there, but for the most part, no, the greatest comic book can never go up against the greatest novel for me. And those are two different platforms too, in a way.
Yeah.
Because there's a place for comic books to tell a story. Visual stories, like with World Devastate, Dark Empire is just beautiful. I just really like a buddy of mine, Cam Kennedy, is one of his favorite artists because he said there is no one who ever wrote like him. You show me art, you can tell it's Cam Kennedy's.
Yeah.
There's a million rip-offs of all these other artists, who wannabes. There's a wannabe. Jim Lee is kind of unique, but you got to search. You got to look deep within the pages to understand it's a Jim Lee. But Jim Lee has so much attention to detail that you pretty much look at Jim Lee and say yes. But there's a lot of authors I go, is that Todd McFarlane or is that Greg Capullo?
I mean, Matt Wilkins knows that I'm a big Mike Turner fan of his art from the like when he did the Aspen stuff. I mean, it's beautiful, but he died, but there's literally a company called Aspen and they hire artists to do Michael Turner art. That is their shtick. That's literally every single one of those comics.
And I know, and I understand that. Greg Capullo was brought in because he draws a lot like Todd McFarlane. Yeah. And to be honest, yeah, that's fine, but I don't want knockoffs. I want original art there. Dave Dorman. A Dave Dorman cover is just beautiful.
He did interiors for Revenge of the Sith, the comic. Oh my god, it's the most beautiful comic ever.
I want to read those X-Wing novels too. Yeah, Rob D. Sorry.
No, that's fine, Rob. I agree with you. I mean, you've probably already seen the reviews, but there are some ones I was like, that's pretty good. I mean, it gets really good when we talk about Baron Fale. It's some of the best stuff ever written. We're doing Baron Fale. And then there's that weird stuff at the beginning. And shame on Michael Stackpole. I thought the whole series should have been like Baron Fale. It should have been just great. And it just had some lows in there. You're thinking, what was Stackpole thinking?
Isn't the novels? We're talking about the novels, not the comic.
We're talking about the comic books.
Okay. Which, if some of you remember, those were some of my earliest reviews. I went through most of the X-Wing Rogue Squadron comic series, and I love about half of it. But something like Requiem for instance, is just stupid. Like there's a floating hand. Wes is getting it on with the Bothans because of dark Sith magic.
Yeah, that story arc was just garbage.
And everyone's face looks hideous. Everyone looks like a horrible monster. Wes and Wedge look the same.
No, they look like War the bartender from Tatooine. They look all messed up in the face.
I never thought of that.
They do, don't they? They look all messed up.
Yeah, they look awful, and the Bothans look grosser than Bothans normally do.
Now to go back to Small Time's comment about reading through the old weird Marvel comic books, LA Times. Yeah, man. But you know what? That's how Joe Bongiorno connects both canons. Because in there, I can't remember which one it's called, but they do go to an alternate dimension. Because it was Marvel in the 80s, baby, or 70s. You did that.
Yeah.
And he uses that to prove, since it's part of canon, that there are alternate dimensions and that Legends is still going on and coexisting with the new canon. They're just two storylines.
Oh, are we talking about Waru?
No. But Waru could be a reason.
Interdimensional being.
Waru makes an appearance, and he mentions meeting Luke Skywalker at the Crystal Star. Then you've totally flipped the script for me. I'm like, oh no, don't do a solid connection to Legends.
What if canon is because of Waru? Like, this is all in Waru.
When Luke entered into Waru softly underneath the in between the scales,
yes,
and got into that spam meat.
So, okay, listen, there's this planet called Crate in the new canon. It's red, okay? But there's an outer shell, it's white. What if that was like white gold? The plates turned white. What if Crate is Waru?
What if he had done something when he sent Waru back that had just changed time, and the timelines are now different and parallel, going on separate paths? I'm telling you. Now, see, Joe really believes all this because he thinks this could easily tie everything together and make it. But he's someone who likes to make connections. Me, I don't want any connection to the new canon at all. I would be pissed if it was an alternate universe. But you also have West End Games' Other Space, which, remember, they had to tear into our universe because they destroyed theirs.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got caught up on, was it Rebels that had the world between?
Oh, yeah.
Ahsoka's just wandering around space and time.
Wouldn't that be funny if there was a gateway that had like a little bar on the top that is like an exit sign, but it said Legends?
I was waiting for it.
EU expanded universe. It's like, turn that way. Turn that way.
Rob, I love the Archie Goodwin comic books. Archie Goodwin was brilliant. I loved him. He wrote very smart stories in a time where Star Wars was considered kids, but Archie Goodwin wrote really good stories. So I really do enjoy those. There's a lot of good comic books out there,
and they're good despite the art.
Right? No, they're still good. The story is good. Well, you may cringe, but there's a lot of people going, "Yay! I love Luke and Leia together." And then they watched, what was it?
Return of the Jedi,
and they're like,
yeah, they felt so uncomfortable.
Oh.
They're just like,
yeah.
Yep. I'm ready to go hit this way. But you know what Lucas was doing the whole time, small time? He was going, yeah.
Oh, God.
Gobble, gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble, gobble.
Have you all heard the story, David Lynch's story about meeting George Lucas to direct Return of the Jedi?
Mm-mm.
One of the funniest things I've ever seen. So this was back in the early script for Jedi when it wasn't supposed to be Ewoks, it was supposed to be Wookiees. And David Lynch is like, I don't know if I'm into this, George. And he's like, well, go for a ride in my Ferrari. And he drove him around.
Gobble, gobble, gobble.
Oh my
God. If you do this, you can make a wish, it'll come true. I'm not even playing.
That's how Dave Filoni got his show to be T canon.
Hey, you're right, it did come true. No, I'm just kidding.
Good, George, you little gobbler.
Okay, anyway.
But no, he apparently George Lucas was so annoying to David Lynch. He stopped. He's like, George, I have to stop you there. I don't give a fuck what a Wookiee is. I don't want to direct your movie, because he was getting a migraine talking to George Lucas. Which, by the way, David Lynch is one of the most fascinating people to listen to. So bizarre, but he will not take crap from anyone. I can only imagine what it was like for CBS when he was doing Twin Peaks. Because they ended up kicking. They fought with him so much he left the show, and the show fell apart. They're like, "We need you back." He's like, "Okay, let me do what I want," and he made utter nonsense. But Matt Wilkins is a big David Lynch fan, especially of Eraserhead.
Well, no. And Bob Iger's autobiography, he talks about David Lynch and the problems they had. Because they wanted, Bob Iger was in charge of ABC television back then, and he said, Lynch, we'll bring you back, but you got to resolve Laura, who killed Laura Strode or whatever. He's like, I don't care about that anymore. And he's like, yeah, but viewers do care about it. And he said the show was great and it was different and they liked it, but that he refused to resolve that mystery because to him it wasn't that important.
Yeah.
Just move on. And he's like, no, you've got to give the fans resolution. And he never would. And Bob Iger says, well, that's why that show failed. It was a nice idea, but it failed.
Well, it also failed because when he left, Mark Frost attempted to do something with it, but he couldn't do it. And it's fell apart. And then the last couple episodes, David Lynch came back to fix it. but there was such a rift, and he did like this weird stuff, and like no one got it. And so when it came time for the movie, Mark Frost left, and then David Lynch made a nonsense movie, which I absolutely love, called Fire Walk with Me, which literally the first 20 minutes is absolute nonsense, and David Bowie shows up and then disappears randomly, and then it gets to the actual movie. I'm not doing this service, but it's actually, I highly recommend Fire Walk with Me. It's one of my absolute favorite movies ever. It's beautiful. It's just a beautiful looking movie. And it's David Lynch nonsense, but not full David Lynch. It's not Lost Highway, where he decided, I'm going to make a movie on a handicap from 2004.
I'm gonna start looking some of this stuff up. I just found that there's like this app on the Fire Stick that you can watch a whole bunch of stuff for free. And it shows commercials, but I mean,
the commercials are horrendous. By the way, Matthew, that's how I watched Dragon Slayer. I watched 12 commercials about Kias. I don't like.
It's not worth it.
I hate.
Just spend $15 and
just buy the DVD at that point.
Can't watch another commercial.
I'm like, Kia and ads for Chewy, and I'm like, I don't have pets.
Hold on. Small Time had a comment here.
Those are called navigators.
Matt, what do you think of his Dune movie? That's what he thinks of it. I figured.
Yeah.
No one likes the Dune movie.
I never saw it. Never read any of it.
No, David Lynch is. You're talking about the one in the early '80s, right?
Yeah.
It's actually my favorite one they've made.
Really?
Only because he did try to match the book.
Yep.
And the book is not very exciting when you do it verbatim, but it's my favorite one. It's a little weird.
Very weird.
But I like how the navigators look in the spice tanks. I don't know why, but that suit, the suit that keeps your moisture in, I know that's a very 80s-esque spacesuit, but to be honest, it looked like the proper thing they'd wear in the desert that would hold their body fluids. So I was like,
what did you think of Sting's codpiece?
Well, I loved it. I'm kidding. I mean, you had Baron Harkonnen, who was just nasty, disgusting. I think David Lynch did try to be as true to the film as he could, but it did drag a whole lot. And that's what...
when they make these movies, the books, how many books are there? Like 12, 10?
Like, including Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson's?
Like 30.
Oh, wow. Because I know hearing out a bunch of them. So when they do the movies, they're just trying to do it like off of the first book, or they try to like expand throughout
I think they tried to adapt all of Frank Herbert's stuff initially.
All those, starting with the Butlerham Jihad, which I'm rereading right now, and then those.
He had some like small paperbacks on top of those. Are those something different?
Oh, no. That's just Highlander.
Oh, okay.
But no, I don't have anywhere to put my Highlander right now. So Dune is from Butlerham Jihad to that, and then down here it's all the way to Sandworms of Dune, which isn't the last one that came out. Actually, the last book to come out was Tales of Dune, which was printed by Wildfire Press, which is Kevin J. Anderson's independent press.
Wow.
Which is why that one costs so much. But the reason I got it is because it's all the short stories that they wrote, all the ebooks and everything combined in one novel.
That's pretty cool then.
But I was gonna actually ask, have you guys like finished any other books recently, or like gotten any new books?
I'm almost done with this book right here.
What's that?
Which would be Predators Stalking Shadows.
Is it gonna be part of your?
Yeah, this is the first review.
Okay.
I got a couple left of this.
I just finished this book. I think it's pretty good.
Me too.
Whoa! Like,
know.
Oh no! They got Matt. We gotta run.
I finished reading the Star Wars Shadowfall that was surprisingly good. But Alexander Freed, of course. I've got a couple here that I would show you. I like to show you.
Yeah, go
And
for
I
it.
want to ask the last one I show you. I want to ask Matt if he's read it. I have a feeling he might have, and then probably get mad at me for not reading something else before getting this one. But Alien 3 novelization.
Okay.
Nice.
So I didn't have that. I had the first two. I think I can't remember if I shared this one or not. X-Files Ruins.
Oh, is that one? Is that when we were at the bookstore?
Yeah. Me
I
and
think
Adam
I
went.
read that one. That's one of the early ones, right?
Well, it says it includes new bonus material on it, and it says don't miss the X-Files movie coming soon to theaters. So
No.
Yeah.
it's before they did the movie.
I-
I've read a few of those from Kevin J. Anderson. They were fun, but I didn't keep up with the whole series.
Yeah, I noticed there's a lot of them. I just thought that'd be kind of interesting to do sometime. I got.
Oh,
Go
wait, what is that? Wild Wild West.
Yes.
Why?
It's in perfect condition and it's just like $2.
$2. That
I've seen the movie like
costs less than that.
I've seen the movie like once. I've seen the movie one time. I don't remember a single thing about it.
It's
That's
bad.
probably why you bought the book.
Yeah.
It has some very interesting racial and
Oh, so I should have got it before they burned it.
it's some interesting racial and ableist comments. There's like an argument, and I can't say it on here because we will all be banned and persecuted for what we are.
There's photos, but they're all black and white.
Oh, that's great. That's a marking of a high quality book.
Yeah. Wow.
What were you going to show, Jeremy?
Oh, this is a book of short stories that are Predator related.
Nice.
It bleeds, and I picked it up because Kevin J. Anderson wrote a short story.
Cool.
Very nice.
Shut
As
up.
well as, one of the greatest Star Wars writers of all time, Tim Levin.
Ugh.
Which Tim Levin's written Predator before, and he did very well. So I'm pretty excited about that. But I will say that this is a pseudo sequel to the Alien short story book called Bug Hunt, where the best story was written by David Farland, aka Dave Wolverton.
You told me that.
Yeah, he wrote one about Carter Burke, and it was really fascinating and weird.
I just checked out 2 audiobooks from my Overdrive library recently. I got The Predator for Next Paper Movies.
Good.
And there's this one that was intriguing. It's written by Bram Stoker's one of his relatives. It's called Dracul. And I think it's supposed to be like a prequel to the Dracula novel, like Dracula's True Origins or something.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But the main character is Bram Stoker. Oh, sorry,
Get
Matthew.
that out of here. I don't want that anywhere near me. Get that out of here.
This is the September.
Is there any way I can magnify this? So
Get it out.
This is the September paper movies.
That is not. I will quit. I will quit paper movies.
I didn't. This is a movie. Didn't the movie get pushed, or did they release it?
I don't know. I hate Bloodshot as a comic book character. I think it's
Yeah.
stupid
Oh, is it
comic.
comic?
It went out in theaters, bombed, and then they threw it out on rental
On paper.
on paper.
Why
And
did
here's-
Vin Diesel just make Riddick movies?
I didn't know it was based on it says based on a motion picture screenplay. It doesn't say anything about a comic. I didn't know that. I didn't know anything about it. I just saw. I was like, oh, novelization.
nice.
Fun to keep those.
Oh, reading A New Hope, the life of Luke Skywalker. I've read that. That's really nice. If you don't have any of the Golden Book stuff, it references the Golden Book.
I was about to say it references a lot of the children's book adventures and kind of puts them together. So does the Life of Obi-Wan. That does as
Yeah,
well.
all of the writer wrote like a Darth Maul one as well, and a Darth Vader one, and they all they take all of the really young kids stuff and tie it.
And tie it all together. The only one I almost bought was the Darth Maul one because I heard the first chapter has to deal with Darth Maul as a child
Weird.
and first meeting Darth Sidious.
I think that's a reference to a Tales comic
Perhaps so.
because there's a couple Darth Maul tales where he's young.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say real quick, can I show you guys my Father's Day gift to me?
Sure.
Here, let me bring it up. Here. It's Gambit.
Oh, I love Gambit.
Oh, you mean it's not played by Channing Tatum?
Exactly.
Who thought that was a good idea? Is that Brian? I blame him for bad choices 101.
I actually have an original print first appearance of Gambit comic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's in my. I'll have to bring it out sometime soon. But yeah, I do have it. I'll
He's
send you
my
guys.
favorite X-Men. I always thought he was so cool.
Yeah, I like him. I always make sure, like in the X-Men games, to like make sure that like because you remember the
Me too.
X-Men Legends and Rise of Apocalypse. Like it's like you can play as 4 X-Men characters. I always make sure he's in my team.
It was the 6-man X-Men arcade. Oh, I was always Gambit.
I think my neighbor had an action figure of Gambit that had like a little switch on the back. It activated a light that was like a purple blast that came out of his hand or something. That's all.
Yeah, the light up cards in his hand. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I'm reading right now, I'm rereading through Dune. Just started Dune, Butler and Jihad. I'm doing it in chronological order. As best
that's interesting.
And I just started it the other day, and I'm not that far in. 146 pages. I haven't had time to read it that much, but it's not. No, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm just saying I read.
No,
I bully through these books a lot. It's really good. At first, like, do I really want to get into Dune again? But already rereading it, it is just so good. It is so good. There's the boring moments are very interesting because it's character development. I really love how a Kevin J. Anderson book flows, man. I love how it flows. There's a whole chapter of them going on a boar hunt. Has nothing to do with anything going on right now. It's just that this is the quiet before the storm. So they go
break.
on a boar hunt. And you're like,
Cool.
okay, I'm into this. I'm into this.
I'll be right back, guys. I'm going to see if I can find that comic. I'll be right back.
Sure.
I have one that I was going to show you, Matt. This is the one I'm curious to know if you've read it or not, because I know you like this fantasy stuff, and I know I should have been reading Wheel of Time stuff, but
He doesn't know how to read.
The Shadow of What Was Lost. Have you heard of this?
No, what is that?
It's a pretty big fantasy. But it says on here, it says
How long it is.
It says, "Love the Wheel of Time. This is about to become your new favorite series." So it's written by James Illington. But I know there's a couple others. I mean, it shows a little tiny picture of the next book. It's like this almost looks the same, but just with a blue art. But
after Dune, I am probably going to read all the Star Wars books again, do that reread. But I was looking at some newer books, not newer books, but some older books to reread. Did you ever read, Matthew, any of the Stephen Lawhead fiction? Okay. Did you ever read the Magic Bicycle books?
No.
Young adult.
The only thing that I ever like, I hated reading until college when I picked up Star Wars Expanded Universe, and then it was like, I want to read Star Wars, and then the new canon stuff. I've been reading that, Legends, and then just a couple little fantasy things here and there, plus World of Warcraft stuff, and just little select novels that I think that sound interesting. So
I was just thinking the Magic Bicycle was written by John Beebe. It was a Christian young adult series. Of course, we had those in our house back in the day, and I only thought it went 4 books and kind of ended, but it actually went 7. Well, the books are super expensive to find, because they never got reprinted. And of course, something stupid and cheesy like that. The Homeschoolers Club is 1 penny on eBay or Amazon. But you want John Beebe's Magic Bicycle series, which I don't think is that good. It's worth like $100. And I'm not paying $60-$80 for that stupid series. But I'd like to read that again. Stephen Lawhead wrote some fantasy novels that I remember liking back in the day. There's someone else, Under the Glass Dome, and there's a sequel to it. I can't remember. Those are somewhat popular, and I would like to reread those. And then there's another one called The Iron Key and the Ivory Tower. It's a duology. We had those as kids too. My parents still have all these books the old bookshelf is still there, and I just need to go get them. I'm thinking about rereading some of my old books that I used to read as a kid that were adult books. You know?
It'd be cool to revisit some of that old stuff.
Yeah, it would be. But the thing is, though, after I read Dune, I should finish Dune this year, and then I'll probably, start chipping away at the old Star Wars. But I don't have any. There's a Firefly book that's coming out end of the year by Tim Levin.
Yeah. There's like 2 more coming out, right? Or did that? Oh, that just come
Well,
out.
one already came out. It was excellent. It was excellent. The Dream Machine or something. Well, I wouldn't say excellent. It was good. It probably was my least favorite of the three, but it's still good. And it started off super strong, but it kind of got into not a rut, but it had a beat, it had a pace, and it would touch on Mal, then so-and-so, then, then River, then so-and-so, then go back to Mal, then so-and-so, then and push their story up a little bit until it finally all came together at the end. And I was like, well, yeah, but you're kind of getting repetitive in who you're going back to.
Okay.
And you already knew Kaylee's next, then the doctor, then Wash, and then Zoe, and then Jane, and then back to Mal, and then back to I was like, oh.
So does this one is it chronological, or is it just kind of like, oh, this story takes place during this time from the
all the stories take place. Well, this story takes place in between the TV show and the movie.
Okay.
Because Wash and Laura have already left in the last novel, but they don't. The only thing that's gone beyond the movie is the comic books, and the comic books are okay. Those were okay, but every comic book they come out with really sucks.
Did they do a novelization of the movie?
So what?
Did they do a novelization of the Serenity?
No, that was in an era when they didn't do movie novelizations unless Star Wars was in the title.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a dark time. I would have loved to read a Prometheus novel. Not really.
I would like to watch a Serenity novel. I mean, you almost had me searching eBay there for a minute until Jeremy said something.
I'm pretty sure they don't.
I'm pretty sure, right?
Sweden. It could be possible. If anything, it would have been a comic adaptation, which would probably be written by his brother, who's terrible.
Oh, it's terrible. The comic books are just horrible.
Yeah, his brother's a talentless hack. Not to say, if I can I just say something right now?
Yeah,
I'm not a big Joss Whedon fan, with the exception of Firefly and early Buffy and some of Angel. I pretty much hate most of what he's done. Not a big Dollhouse guy.
Didn't like Dollhouse.
I don't like
Angel. We're good.
I don't like any of his superhero stuff. Period.
I didn't either. I didn't like any of his Marvel stuff.
Was it North Star is now gay for political reasons? Like no lead up to that.
He's gay because we want to sell his comic book, and that's the only thing we can think about.
Oh, his whole astonishing X-Men run, everyone loves it. But I'm like, no, it's meh. It's mediocre. I don't know. He wrote Alien Resurrection. That was pretty awful.
Have you read? I'll give you a good book series to read, Matthew. Oh, look at that! There it is. Jim Lee, right?
It's a really good read.
I think so. I can't see his name.
Looks like it's in great condition.
Yeah, it's in pretty decent condition.
Anyway, if you have Prime, Amazon Prime, I think you can get it the Kindle version for free.
This son of a bitch refuses to get Prime. I've never met someone so stubborn about it.
About what?
Matthew, I'm throwing you on blast right now. I have literally said, let's watch something on Amazon Prime. No, I don't have Amazon Prime.
Why don't you have Amazon Prime?
Thank you.
It's
been the bane of my existence for 3 months.
I don't have it either.
Hey, I don't expect much from you.
What?
You're a good soul.
What, is it not allowed in Oklahoma?
Yeah.
My parents have.
Who wear tank tops.
Okay.
Ridiculous creature.
Your parents have it. Ask your parents to give your account because they're not going to use it. So you can seriously. Everyone. Hugh Howey. Remember that name and read the Silo trilogy. It is unfriggin' believable.
It sounds familiar.
The Silo is let me see if I can remember what the first one's called Dust.
Is there one called Willow?
Dust, Shift, and Wool.
Wool. That's it. Wool. Yeah, I remember a guy telling me about that. Tell me about that series. He thought it was amazing.
Wool is the first one.
Willow was written by Chris Claremont. It was a trilogy.
Wool, shift, and dust are the three things, and that's the boringest names for books ever. I know. In the Silo series, you're like, okay, that looks even dumber. It's brilliant. It's unbelievably brilliant.
Yeah, Gambit was created by Jim Lee. Matthew co-created by Jim Lee. Yeah.
I'm a big Gambit fan. But seriously, folks, Hugh Howey, he gave them away for free. You can buy the printed books, which I am going to buy. I need to buy those. I need to add those.
I think I remember seeing a cover for Wool. It's like real simple.
They're simple covers because they were free ebooks, is what they were. And then they just caught on, and everyone started reading them.
It's not like one of those series where it's like, what is that book that Steven Spielberg just made a film from? Everybody loved it.
Oh, what was it? Oh, Ready Player One.
Yeah, like everybody was talking about that.
Like show up on the weekend to direct the 2 weeks of live action parts.
I didn't see it and I didn't read the book. I had it, but everybody was saying like it was the most amazing book ever. And I was like, oh, it's so cool. But then,
what's wrong with Family Guy? It's just references. Just references the book.
Yeah. That's what scares me about books, when everybody always just like, this is the one that everybody's gonna be talking about. I was like, why? It's gonna be good. But I have heard about the Silo trilogy. I've heard about it before, but I just don't want to be sucked into some sort of Ready Player One thing.
No, it's not Ready Player One. It's one of those things where there's a mystery, and every time you peel back this onion, there's just a deeper mystery. And you're like, oh my gosh, and there's just it doesn't lose you in all these twists, but just keeps. The more you know, the more you're like, what is going on here? And it just really unravels to where you're like, oh my God, they got to make this into a TV show.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me, the way that you explained that reminded me of a novel that I read not too long ago, Dark Matter. I think it was like a sci-fi type thing, but more like a drama. And it had like that weird time travel type stuff that was just really weird, and you're like, what's going on? But it's called Dark Matter. I need to revisit that book. I remember really liking it. I think it was before I actually started to review books, so I never thought about reviewing it.
There was a book. I was going to say there was a book that I was going to recommend to you, Jeremy, because for some reason I think that you might have enjoyed it. It's called Seven Eves. Have you heard of it? It's a sci-fi book about the moon exploding.
Oh, so it's The Tick? When the big monster tries to eat Earth, and Tick's like, you can take a bite out of the moon. And then later some band makes a song about taking a bite out of the moon. The greatest.
I retract my comment.
The Tick, one of the greatest animated series ever made. One of the greatest comic books ever made. And 2 very wonderful live action shows.
I just reviewed Locked, which was Adam's wife's novel that she wrote. It was a cool supernatural thriller.
Yeah, it was a great review. Appreciate that, man. She loved it.
And Matt, didn't you say your brother has a book coming out?
Well, he just came out with a short story. Let me pull it up here. I didn't do the interview with him, I guess. Kill Ship, which is a kind of a lead-in to his let me pull him up here, which is a lead-in to his series. You can look him up. There it is. Look at that. H.W. Taylor is one of his pen names. And it is the unique Miranda trilogy, and he even has it right now. It's free with your Kindle Unlimited subscription, which you don't have.
Yeah.
Or you could buy it for $6.99 on digital. Not bad.
So is that Kindle Unlimited stuff going to disappear?
What do you mean?
Chuck Wendig, did you hear about this? Was trending on Twitter.
Was it Kindle Unlimited he was going after?
It's something to do with free ebooks, how many times someone can access an ebook before they have.
He's a moron.
Payments that start being made, something like that. It might be one of those things like, sign up and you get a free ebook. I don't know.
I'm sorry, I got it. This is funny.
But yeah, I don't know about those ebooks.
I don't know. I know that Chuck Wendig is a monster.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's a new World of Warcraft book coming out next.
A break into your house. That didn't happen.
There's a new what, Matthew?
A World of Warcraft novel coming out in July.
Oh, really?
Shut up. The UK brought out hardbacks of all Hugh Howey's novels. Now I got to go get them.
They're probably under the Century imprint, and they're $100 a piece.
They're $28 a piece, you smart ass.
Hey, I was just going off of the Clone Wars hardcovers. That,
but you know, if I'm going to get it, he went after Internet Archive. That's correct. Small time. That's what it was. But but what they were doing was, because all the libraries were closed, they said, okay, usually we only let you rent out check out one book at a time. We're going to just let everyone check out just for right now, since they're encouraging reading. Mm-hmm. It's just totally ridiculous, and everyone's mad at him, and they should be, because he's a moron. But yeah. I mean, that's the thing. We forget about our libraries. Our libraries are right there. You don't have to buy the book and get it, and they have most everything these days.
Yeah, and not just the physical. I mean, like the ebook, you can get them on audiobook too.
Yeah,
listen to these things while you work.
Yeah,
do yourself a favor. Try out Wool. It's unbelievable. You'll want to read Shift, and when you read Shift, you'll want to read Dust, and it's just great. It's just really solid writing. I cannot believe how good. My brother just begged me to read it, and so I read like a few chapters, and I was hooked, man. Hooked.
I was gonna say I really do agree with you. Like I think we should start getting back into libraries, because it's just. Whenever the quarantine happened, Matthew recommended Overdrive, and I got him. Man, I've been able to check out comic books that I've been wanting to read, and it's great. And in audiobooks.
Yeah, it was when I used to work downtown Oklahoma City, and there was a library down there. And on my lunch break, I would always if I wasn't working out, I want to go walk to the library, and I just browse up and down the aisles. And I was always surprised that their Star Wars section was very limited at the downtown library. So
this needs work. Yeah. I used to walk in my old library back in Forest, Mississippi. They had the Maverick Moon, the old the children's book, Star Wars book. And I remember looking at it and going, oh, this isn't the movie. And I put it back. But I always remember, I said, man, that was an extra adventure. And I remember reading it a little bit, and I was like, oh, this isn't the movie, though. And I couldn't remember what it was for the longest when I started collecting, books again. I was like, well, hold on, I need to find it. And I finally found it. I was like, oh, I was so excited when it came in. So disappointed because it wasn't really that good.
I'm kind of happy about this. We're rearranging my office right now, and on my bookshelf, I have all my Star Wars books. Every time my daughter kind of toddles her way in here, she always goes for the Star Wars books and grabs them and hands them to me like this. I'm just like, that's my girl.
Yeah.
She always grabs this one too.
She wants you to read it to you.
She wants to flush it down the toilet.
Either or. Yeah.
Okay, Matt, since we're way past when you reviewed all of Coruscant Nights, is that the best Coruscant Nights book? Last Jedi? No.
I don't know what the best one. I wanted to be a fan of that series, but I just wasn't.
You mean you didn't like that he got the best on Vader?
Yeah. Can we boot Jeremy, please?
I really want to know, Matt, what do you think? Should I start on this, or should I start at the Approaching Storm?
That's the next one you're going to read, is The Approaching Storm?
Yeah, you just finished Bound Flight.
Yeah, I finished Outbound Flight, which is just the greatest, in my opinion.
It's the Zahn book, that's for sure.
Did you like it?
Outbound Flight? Oh, man. Absolutely loved it. It was crazy. My review was crazy.
Go into...
I didn't know that.
Go into...
oh, hey.
Approaching Storm, I guess.
Yeah, that'd be the next adult novel.
You want me to do Approaching Storm before I do Shadow? Here's I could do both.
Yeah, just because I want to see you do another EU book review.
I got I forgot to review Darth Maul, Shadow Hunter. I forgot to review that one. I've read it, but I forgot to review it. I need to jump on that.
We didn't small time, but the thing is, I applauded it coming out because I thought, oh, maybe this will save it.
Okay, let's get into this real fast because Jax Pavin. I love Lorne Pavin as a character, and I don't like Jax particularly.
I know what they were shooting for, but a noir Star Wars book.
Yeah, it's interesting, but like it doesn't work because Jax Pavin is not an interesting character in my opinion.
Not an interesting character. I don't think if you're going to do a noir, please don't make him a Jedi. Make him a smuggler. Make him a little bit of a scoundrel. You know, deadbeat. But he's got the Force in him. He has a glorious past. You know, noir isn't about your. You know,
no.
The detective is never rich. He's down on his luck. Beat gumshoe. You know, whatever.
Well, why did Jax Pavin have to be that character? I get Jax Pavin being in the story because we've set up Jax Pavin already. In Shadowhunter, we know he's out there.
Right.
Lorne talks about him throughout the book. But I would be fine if Jax was in there as a small character.
Maybe a side character, but just not. I don't know.
But like he has the same thing. To me, he's not as bad as Ferris Olin. Ferris Olin is
the worst.
Ferris Olin is a failure. And I have no idea why he can hold his own with Darth Vader.
Jude Watson always used Ferris Olin as the antagonist to Anakin, right?
Yeah, he was Anakin's rival in Jedi Quest.
Then she goes, all of a sudden says, okay, now it's going to be on Ferris Olin. He is the hero, folks.
Well, because
no.
I honestly think with Jude Watson, she wanted to have Obi-Wan as the protagonist again for the last of the Jedi, the young adult series. And Lucasfilm said no after the second one. That's like after the first one. They're like, you got to have Ferris back in. If you're going
to save Ferris. I agree with you, small time. I'm glad you brought that comment up. I think a Han Solo like would have been good for an old detective trying to figure it out. Actually, I think Lando would be perfect because he's more of a ladies' man. You know, and getting the lady and trying to get rich. If there's money involved, Lando's there for it. Lando's to be honest, the L. Neil Smith trilogy is brilliant. Mm-hmm. It is brilliant. There is lots of intrigue. There's lots of adventure. There's a mystery that gets solved at the end of the trilogy with Vufi Ra. And then there's a hilarious ongoing gag where Lando is at the end of the chapter. His goose is cooked, baby. He is surrounded, guns pointed at him. They're going to kill him. And the very next chapter begins with the word sabak because Lando's there playing cards with them. You're like, what? Wait, what just happened? And then it goes back to how he smooth talked his way out of it, became friends with him, and started playing sabak with him. And that happens more than once. That's how he gets Lando. He writes Lando into a corner and then just says, and then he smooth talks his way out of it. And I love that. I love that he was just making friends with everyone and has them laughing at when they had a gun point to his head at the end of the last chapter. Now he's beating them in sabak. I was like, that's just great. It just made me love Lando's character so much, and that's why I think that is why I'm a big Lando fan. Is the L. Neil Smith trilogy.
All this talk about noir Star Wars, I can just see like Lando like in a black and white, like hanging out at a sabak table with like a saxophone Star Wars theme going in the background, you know.
How you doing?
It's funny.
You have a lot of guts coming in here.
Just like the name's Calrissian, son. Lando Calrissian.
Hey, small time, you should have just Small time should have just changed his name to Yak Face Official.
Yak Face Official.
But
small time.
Yeah, I think that is a missed opportunity for Star Wars not to do another Lando-centric book, because I feel like there was so much you could explore with him and so much you could do. Like, we never really get to hear about Lando and Tindra and Chance. Chance is mentioned every once in a while, But
I don't think people know what to do with him now. Still, like even with the new canon stuff, it's like,
and that's a
oh, here
shame.
he is.
He's not a Han Solo replacement. He's so different from Han Solo. He's more distinguished. He has etiquette. He has
Putting on that outfit really screwed himself over.
Well, I mean, he didn't have anything else to wear. Come on, man. He had to raid his buddy's closet.
Yeah, which were probably his clothes in the first place.
You can't tell me that if you didn't come over to my house, you wouldn't put on my clothes. Dylan did it when he came here.
Yeah, he even wore Yub Nub's clothes at one point.
And then he put himself in a little well and he says it pushed the lotion on. I don't know. Dylan got kind of weird for a minute.
Yeah, he was getting out of hand.
But the thing is, I'm just saying that Lando dresses nice. He likes the finer things in life. He's a smooth operator. He works a little bit differently than Han. Han's gruff, rough, crude, belches and doesn't see the problem with it. Lando is more refined, but he's a scoundrel. It's like Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, man. He is Michael Caine. It's such a great story. I absolutely love the character that is Lando, and I wish more people had done stuff with him. But you're right. People didn't know how to write him, I guess, after a while, and
Yeah.
he just kind of, no one knew what to do with him. They thought, oh no, this is Han Solo Part 2. I don't want this guy.
Yeah, Lady Luck, isn't that his ship?
Yeah, the Lady Luck. That's why I love Rich Handley. When he called me, I knew exactly who he was. I said, "Look, I'm sorry. I was holding my breath. I was like, I just gotta say, I loved your Idiot's Array." He went, "Huh?" I'm like, the short story you did, I loved it. I thought it was really good. He went, "Oh, thanks." Like, I didn't even know you read that kind of stuff, nerd.
I can't bear about.
Star Wars Noir would be Han Solo becomes Rick Deckard.
Yeah, and that the
Didn't Tales do a little Indiana Jones Han Solo crossover?
I remember. I know that exists, but I don't know if it was Tales.
I think Han dies. Remember, it's a galaxy far, far away a long time ago, but he crash lands on a planet and dies, and Indiana Jones finds his remains while he's digging at an archaeologist site, or
So
something happens that connects the two.
It's so dumb.
It
What
is.
if that was the
Another
last
reason why
Indiana-
you should never read Tales.
What if that was the last Indiana Jones movie that came out? Was it the Crystal Skull?
Yeah.
What if that's what that was? The aliens were Chewie and Han.
Interdimensional aliens.
Waru.
Waru's cousins. Yeah, they created the Waru.
That's what they were flying. It actually turned into the Waru cube at the end.
I think Waru is going to
That's
get
the
its
thing.
own coin
That's
jar.
the thing I'm jealous about. Indiana Jones's expanded universe gets to stay intact because
At
no
the
one cares.
Don't curse it. I'm so worried. You have no idea how worried I am that they're just going to take a dump on all of Indiana Jones, from young Indiana Jones to the books, to the comics. And just like,
You don't read that stuff.
I'm trying to collect it. It's so expensive.
Really?
Yeah.
I found this one.
I regret not getting
Which one's
all
that
of
one?
those.
Here, let me bring it up.
I hear the best one is the Genesis Project. Okay. Haven't read that one, but I read like the first 2 or 3. They were okay. They just weren't great. But I should have read is it the Genesis Project or something? I hear that one's the best. I probably should have read that one first.
And finally got this one.
Yeah, you told me about that one in the movies. That's really awesome.
Does that have Kingdom of the Crystal Skull in it?
No, just this trilogy.
No, I did see that though at the bookstore, and I was just like, should I get that or not? But
That's an audio book.
yeah, I can find the audiobook, but I was just like, do I get it?
Hardcovers of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull for $5 on
Oh
eBay.
gosh, that's small time. That's the worst idea for a sequel book I've ever heard.
What do you say?
I would love.
I would rather see a Crystal Star 2.
No. Ugh. That's
I-
rough.
I
or-
want a Stealth and Siege 3. What was it? Stealth, Gambit, Stealth, and yeah, what we have. What's another word that we could just throw in there for Karen Miller?
Gambit, Stealth, and Garbage.
Garbage. And they talk about Segula all the time because Segula is the biggest thing that ever happened to Obi-Wan ever. And then he talks about
Oh,
Nail,
that was the way.
Korea Damp.
I kept waiting for those books to get good. It's such a waste of time. It was such a waste. It's like there's not many cash grabs out there, but I think that Old Republic comic book and series, even though it was reprints, was just a cash grab, just something with the Old Republic on it because they were too lazy to come up with their own stories. And I also think that Gambit and Stealth were just a cash grab, man. Just throw something out there for Star Wars. I don't care what it has.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna back up to that book that I showed you, The Shadow of What Was Lost. I just looked it up. It is a trilogy, and the Goodreads shows that it's 4.2 stars out of 24,000 votes. It's got 4 stars.
Is 5 stars the highest rating? Okay, you're obviously more interested in that, so go ahead and read that.
just on the topic of it, I'm just interested.
No, we weren't on the topic of
Well,
it. You just wanted to justify that you could read this big book that's going to be a trilogy. It's going to take up 14 years of your life to read a trilogy.
I know.
So you won't have to read anything else.
His oldest will be in college by the time he's done.
Who?
Your oldest.
You're old.
Yeah.
Actually, Matt a twin.
Of 14 months. My kids will be 15 months when I'm done with the Dune trilogy.
Well, I mean, it's bigger text.
Jeremy, I do have to slow down on my book reading because something came in that I have to play.
What is it? Is it Twilight Imperium 5th edition?
My Kickstarter edition of Project Elite.
What?
Whoa. Hold on.
How long did that take you to get?
Over a year here.
Oh my god. Remember playing that?
I ordered this. Yeah, I ordered this before the girls were born.
God.
It finally came. This is the reprint, Jeremy.
Yes, I know it's a reprint because remember trying to get the original print?
Oh, yeah, the original is right up there because I did actually find one in the UK.
Yeah, it was a gigantic thing.
We played that at Gen Con because I remember I called Jeremy and Dylan after I played and said, you guys got to come over here. This is great. And we had the best time. And this is solo play, and the missus says she's not in for this round. So I'll have to play by myself for a little while because my nephews are at summer camp, so they can't sit down and play with me. So I'm hoping to sit down and play a few rounds of this. And I can't wait. I read over the instructions tonight, actually.
Nice.
Right on. That's a great find.
That's gonna chop into my reading a little bit.
I see that there's not room for those, so that means that you should give me Queen's Gambit.
No.
To take care of here.
No way. No way. Queen's Gambit. That's a pretty sweet one there.
Yeah.
Hey, are we getting another stimulus check? Because I could use that money.
I don't think so.
No.
When I
Want me some stalemate.
Yeah, because let's be honest, there is no resolution for Lock Dirt. He just disappears. That was
You remember those books a lot better than I do.
Oh, I have to review them still.
Oh, okay.
It's awful. I've had to.
You should have done it what I did. I'm doing it in chronological order. That way, all the best books are at the end. My reviews just keep getting better and better because the stories get better. I mean, even Legacy, the comic book, was pretty good.
When Filoni's new series of Clone Wars came out, I was like, I need to get back into the Clone Wars mindset, but I don't want to watch this awful series again. So I started reading the books. Like I think I did Stealth and Siege first. And then they kept talking about Segula, but I was so winded, I didn't want to read another Karen Miller book, so I read No Prisoners, which is Karen Travis, which is actually a book. Like, what a concept. Karen Travis wrote an EU book. And it's the biggest love letter to Barbara Hambly I've ever seen in my life. Callistia's in it. And
I like that. That's one of the few Karen Travis books I enjoyed.
It's the best one by far.
It is the best one by far she's ever written.
It's literally the only time Captain Rex gets his own perspective on things ever, which was fascinating. And his friendship with Pelion was fascinating. And Pelion being embarrassed that he's been sleeping with the spy that's been taken by the Afghanistan planet hostage.
Dang. Small time even remember. He's been reading. Why have you been reading Stealth and Siege?
Because everyone's been reading Stealth and Siege. Quality Autism just finished them too.
Why?
Because they're so bad.
Goodness gracious.
They are the
All
worst.
the Jedi. What? I mean, Matthew has several copies of Crystal Star in his house.
Just got the one. It attacks me all the time.
It's not a bad book. It's not a bad book. If you've read Stealth and Siege and you've read Wild Space, I can't say that Crystal Star is a bad book.
So it's already out that I don't like iJedi. That's my least favorite.
I like Crystal Star more than iJedi. Because iJedi is a BS book. I don't mind Core and Horn.
I don't remember that book. I read that one.
iJedi just shoehorned Cornhorn because Michael Stackpole wanted him to be in the first class, wanted him to have all the Jedi abilities. He beats Luke Skywalker in a lightsaber battle and then scolds him afterwards because he's not being a good Jedi Master. It's just so embarrassing and just so much garbage. And I love Stackpole. I love Stackpole, but I think it's like I love Troy Denning, but I think Tatooine's Ghost is terrible.
Well, that's a boring book. That's the Ambien book of Star Wars.
That's the thing. There's some books that I'm like kind of like I read the New Republic stuff, and then I was, I'm going to go back to the beginning, and then I thought I'm going to reread the stuff that I have read just to see how it all ties together and refresh my memory because it was like I started reading, and then like a year after was when we started having the kids, so it's like a lot of your mind is like in a different place, and you're just I can't remember what I read. Maybe that's just me and the way my brain works, but like I'm kind of dreading revisiting some books.
Something like Planet of Twilight is a pain to read.
Real quick, Rob, grab a pencil when you're watching TCW again, and I want you to seriously do this. Mark when you think it's a good episode, mark when you think it's a bad episode, and let me know the percentage. That's what I did last time I watched Dave Filoni's Clone Wars.
Okay, I got attacked on YouTube because I have to tell you this comment, Matt, because it's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. So there's this guy who comments on my videos about a certain YouTuber that we won't name here because there's no drama between us anymore, and so there's no reason to bring him up. But this guy on YouTube, he can't get over this. Like literally, I had to put him on blast on Bryant's Nerd Pub last time we streamed together because he wouldn't stop commenting, harassing these YouTubers he didn't get along with. And granted, they're people that I don't get along with, but I don't go every day commenting 5 comments, just spouting nonsense about them. And so he went on my Ahsoka review and he got mad because I said Ahsoka fans were dumb, like as a joke. And he's like, "You're stupid," and he has like this paragraph comment because I couldn't believe no punctuation, no capitalization. It is. I almost sent it to you today, like via text, because
it was in the video you did about
the Ahsoka novel.
Okay.
Yeah, the same guy commented on my stuff too.
That was a while back, though, wasn't it?
That was this last year. Yeah.
Last year. Goodness
yeah.
gracious.
Like this time last year, if not earlier. No, it was in the fall. It was in the fall because I filmed it here in this room when I had the big beard.
I'm trying to go back and find it to see this stupid comment.
I got these comments on my Heir to the Jedi review, which is an old review, but this same person's like being weird.
Was it the guy was it the comment you got while we were at lunch the other day?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, he got your opinion too.
Yeah, I made a comment about like something about an opinion. It's like, "Oh, do you not recommend this?" I was like, "No, but that's my opinion." I mean, somebody out there is going to like this garbage book. And then there was like the comment was, "Well, you calling it a garbage book is an opinion. It's not a fact." I was like, "I know. I just said everybody has a different opinion." Commented on the comment that said opinion. I don't know. You got to find something.
I never respond to these comments. Well, because he like deliberately fights with me on things. Like he straight up like wanted to argue with me about Heir of the Jedi being dual canon, which it's not. And he did the same with I think Dark Disciple and Tarkin.
Hey, that's Jeremy. That on my comments, I just said he left comments on Heir of the Jedi. I consider this book both Disney canon and Legends since it was originally a Legends novel and it fits.
Oh, he didn't put the "and it fits," but that's almost the verbatim the same comment he put on mine. What on earth?
Yeah. And there's comments about New Dawn being Legends as well.
How? Literally a Rebels tie-in.
Okay, the Rebels, which is Disney created. It says this book was originally a Legends novel, just like Tarkin and Heir to the Jedi. And it goes on to say some other stuff.
Okay, I need to bounce, guys. I have to get up in the morning.
I do too, actually. I've got a doctor's appointment.
Wait, you get up in the morning? I'm kidding.
I took off tomorrow, so I can go to a doctor. Get checked up.
All right.
Yeah, we can go ahead and call it an evening there. But thank you guys so much for being on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, sorry I had to step out for a little bit. I was bound and determined to find this comic. So, but yeah, be sure to go check these guys out at their channels, especially the Geeks Hallway.
Check me out, Geeks Hallway, right below the attic.
Check me out at 4K Taint Slap.
Dadgummit, Jeremy.
That's a great one to end it on. Thank you for that.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you guys so much, and be sure to stay updated for more paper movies that'll be coming out soon. So, see you guys. Have a good one.
Ass.